Remorse podcast with Joe and Dave. Be warned, the discussions in this podcast will contain detailed spoilers. For spoiler-free reviews of newly released films, please check out our channel Reviews Without Remorse on YouTube and VidMe. Enter at your own risk and enjoy the show.
Knock, knock. Welcome to the podcast that ain't got time to bleed. This is Reviews Without Remorse, and I am Joe, a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. My partner, who's been pushing too many pencils, is Dave. You son of a bitch. This is episode number 83, and in this episode, the official trailer for Captain Marvel dropped today. Dave and I will react. The first photo of Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker was leaked. Our Dark Knight aficionado will weigh in. The new trailer for Poppins Returns was released. Can it recapture the magic? Let's discuss. Also, Lisbeth Salander returns in The Girl in the Spider's Web. We'll take a look at the new trailer. And finally, a movie so lame that I had to revert to the original just to write my intro. Stick around as we discuss The Predator. Get to the chopper!
I am so glad you said that because I was actually going to say you are using lines from the original Predator because there's just nothing memorable about this movie. Spoiler alert!
Yeah, little hint as to where this podcast is going to go today, but let's get going.
War is a universal language. I know a renegade soldier when I see one. Never occurred to me that one might come from above.
I'm going to pull back a second as a comic book fan, and I'm going to try to look at the Captain Marvel trailer as somebody who has no clue who Captain Marvel is. Just for a second. I'm just going to try this just for a second.
Which is kind of me, by the way, so go ahead. This is good.
Yeah. I'll be curious if this is what you were thinking. As I'm watching it, I'm saying to myself, if I'm a casual person, what is the big deal about this character?
Okay. Is that a question for me? Because honestly, I have to admit, it's hard for me to strip away the Marvel fanboy in me, which I have become in the last decade. Honestly, I just took it as it's another Marvel movie. It's already got a little bit of the Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. She's from space, so I see that sort of happening. It looked pretty cool. I liked seeing the young Nick Fury. I like that angle where he's totally, again, he's much younger, not the Nick Fury we know today. Just looks like just a regular cop, frankly.
Yep.
I thought that was kind of cool. And
did you notice Agent Coulson was in it as well?
I did, yeah. Okay. With a little more hair. So yeah, I like I said, if your point is that they didn't offer a whole lot, I will grant you that. But it was enough to kind of wet my whistle and get me interested and get me excited.
The reason why I wanted to present the question like that is because this was my first thought. I was thinking to myself, I know who Carol Danvers is. I know who Captain Marvel is and stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself, let me try to look at this as somebody who's never even heard of the character before, who, when that big scene at the end of Infinity War happened, people, looked at the screen like, what? Who? And meanwhile, I'm in my seat going, like that, like a little boy. But that aside, now that's why I was curious. I was curious how a non-fan would look at it, and as I was trying to look at it as a non-fan, I was like, I don't see what is it I'm supposed to get excited about. Guardians of the Galaxy 2.0 this time. Oh look, it's a woman. That's kind of the vibe that I was getting across as a non-fan. Now as a fan, I lost my stuff. I was losing my damn stuff. Okay. Something you need to know about Captain Marvel. You may not remember this, but do you remember Rogue from the X-Men?
Sure.
Okay. There was a storyline with Rogue where she was fighting Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. And, Rogue's power is that she, takes abilities and memories of people when she touches them. During the fight, she held on too long, and she actually stole Captain Marvel's powers. That's why in the comics, Rogue can fly.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
All right? And it left Carol Danvers with, no memory of who she was. Like she literally had amnesia. So when I saw that they were kind of sort of like doing that plot, I was excited. I was like, oh my God, it's like they figured a way around the rogue thing. Somehow she gets taken into space and she forgets all about her Earth life or something. I don't know. It looks to me like they are doing an origin story, but they're doing it in a different way. They're telling it maybe out of sync.
Flashbacks and retroactively.
But in a weird way, that's kind of a brilliant way of doing it, because it's going to be it's her own character is her own audience member learning about who she is and how she came to be. I think that's kind of cool, actually.
Oh, I like that. I'm with you.
So from that perspective, I was like tripping out like nobody's business. I love the costume. I love that they got her face mask costume right with the glowing eyes and everything like that. I was really disappointed that we didn't see Chewie.
Who the hell is Chewie?
Chewie is her cat.
Okay. Well, look, they they got as much as they probably could in this trailer. And again, the film's not coming out until the spring, so I'm sure there's a lot more to do, a lot of post-production still to go on. With that in mind, I think they probably gave us a nice little chunk of what we can expect.
Yeah. I was digging what I was seeing. I really do love the look of the scrolls. You just know that she punched out that old lady on the bus because that's a scroll, right?
Yes. I did get that, yeah.
And that's that. And ladies and gentlemen, that has already become a meme. It's already out there. People are just adding in stuff where she's just the old lady says something and Carol says something opposite and whacks her. That's out there now. Look for it. You'll see it everywhere.
That's funny. Yeah, honestly, I was already kind of taken with this, and I think you kind of alluded, but not quite. But I noticed that they did the the hero, but the word sort of faded in the HER first. It was her hero story or something or other. Yeah. And I kind of was like, you know what? Okay. Because I mean, honestly, I was almost getting a slight Wonder Woman vibe, and it could have been as simple as the gold lettering.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of was like, okay, well, they sort of did the Black Panther, which did gangbusters because it, again, I've heard it said, and I can't argue with it, that it was the first Marvel MCU, officially, I'm making the quote-unquote with my fingers, it was the first African-American superhero to get his own film in the MCU. And it appealed to a lot of people, so great. So I guess we're kind of doing that here, even though we've had a couple already. But yeah, this is the first solo female-led superhero story, and good for it. You know what? Awesome. And if it'll bring more people, and if will appeal to a certain demographic, awesome. Maybe the girls want a superhero too, and maybe this will do it.
Absolutely, they want a superhero, and Carol Danvers is one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So this is a big deal for me, at least. Maybe at least from a comic book geek, this is a big deal for me. And when I first heard that Brie Larson was attached, I was excited. I thought she had the look, and she can do the chops. If you've ever seen Room, the woman can act.
Oh, right. Yes. Spectacular,
okay?
Actually.
Yeah, so I'm quite excited about it. As a comic book fan, I'm very excited about it. I'm a little concerned that the general audiences will still have no idea what the heck it is they just saw. But trust me, folks, this is looking good.
Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me Joker.
Who the hell is Arthur?
Is that his name in this?
Yes, it's an Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, let me explain what I'm talking about here. They have released a picture of Joaquin Phoenix, who is going to be playing the Joker in Todd Phillips' directed movie, Joker, it's being called. And he's not in makeup or anything like that. This is obviously him pre-transformation. He looks like Joaquin Phoenix. And the director, Todd Phillips, just, posted the picture with the title, Arthur. Who the hell is Arthur?
I guess that's the whole point of this Joker movie. They're going to actually, give him a backstory. And yeah, that was a weird picture to release because I mean it just looks like Joaquin Phoenix having a really bad day, kind of.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how I looked at it. Look, it sounds to me, from what I'm gathering, they're going towards the Killing Joke. That's the impression that I'm getting. And can I just say that you missed the point of the Killing Joke by doing this movie? There is one line in that comic book, very famous comic book. If you haven't read it, please read it. It's it's tremendous. There's a throwaway line that the Joker says at one point in The Killing Joke. He says, "I'm not sure. Sometimes I remember it one way, sometimes I remember it another way. If I'm going to have a past, it's best that it's multiple choice." That's the Joker. He's not supposed to have a past. Frickin' Nolan got it right. Yeah. Nolan, when he said, the way we approach this is he's like the shark from Jaws. And the way Ledger portrayed it, with every single time he told the story about the scars, the story was always different. That's the Joker. That's fine. We really don't need... This is infuriating to me. Some you don't need to have an origin for everybody. You don't. The mystery is part of it. Who they are, where they come... Who the hell cares? We don't need this movie. And, yeah, Joaquin Phoenix looking like Joaquin Phoenix after he just walked out of the frickin'... You know what? I'm not making a joke. I was going to make a very, very tasteless joke about the Viper Room in the 80s. And I feel kind of guilty for even saying it. It's a horrible thing to say. But between this picture and this terrible movie that we're going to be reviewing in a little bit, it really, really, really is hard to not be angry right now.
I'm getting the sense that DC is going to start cranking up their output because now we have the DC Universe streaming service. Hey, there you go. A company that's been banging out one flop after another is now asking you to pay up to watch it.
Insert sound of F Batman from the Titans trailer. Where's Batman?
Fuck Batman.
Exactly.
If you don't care about the product, why even doing it? Why? Why even bother? Because it's going to be obvious when people don't enjoy it. You know what? I don't care that you have Todd Phillips behind you. I don't care that Martin Scorsese is behind you. None of that matters to me. Give me a compelling reason to put my ass in your seats. And right now, just this one photo and the name Arthur is not compelling enough. Stop demystifying characters whose part of their charm is their mystery.
Yeah, and why bother leaking something unless it's really something to... whatever. This company has baffled me for years. They're going to continue to baffle me. I don't know why they do what they do. But yeah, leaking this photo, like I said, looking like Joaquin Phoenix just had a rough night, it really does nothing for anybody. So
I was flying a kite and I got caught on a nanny.
Mary,
Poppins, you came back.
you seem hardly to have aged at all.
Really? One never discusses a woman's age, Michael. Would have hoped I taught you better.
the new trailer for Mary Poppins Returns. Now, they did some kind of a teaser before, which was honestly really pretty lackluster, because you really, you saw the characters, you saw the people in it. I think there was one little thing where she kind of walked past the mirror and the reflection stayed, and I was like,
which they still included in this trailer, yes.
Yeah. So at the time, I was like, okay, whatever. This trailer was much different, and it was very rich in what I guess you can expect from this film. Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm going to confess something here. I'm actually really excited for this movie now. I genuinely really liked that trailer, and I thought this is a very worthy sequel to a classic film. At least in terms of how they're doing it. Because when I saw the live action with the animation, which was not CGI animation, it was real animation. I was like, I like where this is headed. And I genuinely enjoyed that trailer. And again, this is not something that would normally be up my alley by any stretch. But I seriously watched this and I was like, I want to see this movie now.
Aw, you got charmed, didn't you?
I did. I did. And I was not I literally was expecting to watching it, to roll my eyes, to come here tonight and talk about, the endless Disney remakes and the live action, blah, 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 blah. I thought for sure that's what I was going to be doing right now. I was totally taken by this trailer.
Frankly, I kind of was too. I didn't have a lot of hope in the first, because a part of me was like, well, does it really need a sequel? P.L. Travers is going to be spinning in her grave, and I think P.L. Travers is still going to be spinning in her grave no matter what. But, there's a lot of love of the original movie on that screen. It is obvious that everybody involved truly, truly love the original and truly want to tell a story that is worthy of the first movie and as a sequel. And brother, I don't know if they did CGI trickery or something like that, but seeing a 92-year-old Dick Van Dyke dancing convincingly,
Right?
what the hell?
I tell you what, I mean, I don't know. Like you said, this might be some CGI magic. I'm sure it probably is. But just the fact that they put the effort in to get him on that screen, and the fact that he actually looks pretty good. I mean, I mean, like you said, this dude is up there. Like I said, I was really sort of charmed by this. I really, like you said, I think this is a worthy tribute to the original. At least on what I'm seeing so far. But like, I'm based on everything I saw, and like I said, this trailer was chock full of stuff. So I got a pretty good feeling about it, and I kind of want to see it.
Wonderful little callbacks to the original movie. It looks like, from what I understand, the animated sequences are actually hand animated. They actually did do old-fashioned hand-style animation for it.
It absolutely looks it. And I tell you, that kind of blew me away. I feel like I haven't seen a full-blown animated cartoon in I don't know how long.
The last animated movie that Disney did was The Princess and the Frog. That was the last one that used traditional hand-drawn. And that's, 2009, I believe. It's almost 10 years. So
wow.
This is... Yeah, I found myself charmed. And what a cast. What a full cast of excellent actors and actresses. Angela Lansbury showed up in the trailer. Meryl Streep showed up. Colin Firth. I understand David Warner is in it as well. I mean, it's just... All right. I don't know if we're going to add it to the calendar, but yeah, I'm kind of in.
I even if we don't, I might just see it and just give my opinion of it the weekend it comes out. And I think Emily Blunt does a great job, by the way. I think she's an excellent successor.
I agree. In fact, Julie Andrews has come out in defending, or maybe not defending as much as like
supporting.
Supporting. Thank you very much. That's the one I'm talking about. Yes, it's very, very, very supportive of her.
I tell you, I was kind of shocked in how much I actually enjoyed this.
Who the hell are you?
I'm a fan of yours. The CEO who beat up 2 prostitutes, but then got acquitted in court yesterday.
Get me down!
I'm transferring 20% of your cash to these 2 girls.
I'm calling down to security.
The rest, I'm transferring to your wife. Account number.
Don't!
51912.
Take your child and leave. He won't hurt you again.
Who are you?
Well, don't need to see the movie now.
Yeah, I tell you what, that was a little disappointing. You know, I really enjoyed the last one they did, the girl with the dragon tattoo. And I know there was a whole trilogy done in Sweden, I want to say. I think I'm going to goof that up though. And then there was the American version of the girl with the dragon tattoo with Daniel Craig. And I was a big fan of that. I thought that was really well done, really well executed. I thought the cast was terrific and they had an excellent tone. So I was kind of disappointed that they changed it up for this one. I was really hoping to see that same cast return. And yeah, I was a little disappointed by the trailer because the scene that they showed... Well, first of all, if you saw the first one, did you see the last one, by the way?
I didn't see either the original trilogy that was with I want to say Naomi. Oh God, what the hell is her name? She was in Alien. She was in the Prometheus movie. Whatever. I didn't see the original. I didn't see the David Fincher one either. I've seen scenes of it. I haven't seen the full one.
Yeah, it's definitely worth your time. And I mean, even just for David Fincher alone, because he does a great job with this. And there's this, and I won't spoil it, but there's a scene akin to what you just saw in the trailer where she kind of gets revenge on somebody who wronged somebody pretty bad, and it's a very satisfying scene. Then you see the trailer for this one. And first of all, it's a little more theatrical in the way they do this, with the guy actually getting strung up. And plus, this is the payoff to a scene that I'm sure would have been much more satisfying if you saw it in the context of the film. But now it's, like you said, it's pretty spoiled. Having said that, though, I did really like the look of the trailer. I thought the film looked pretty fascinating. Again, I didn't read any of the books. In fact, I started to read Dragon Tattoo after I saw the film. But honestly, as I got through about the first chapter, I realized the film was so faithful to the novel that I just felt like I was reading a novelization of a movie, so I didn't even bother continuing. But again, I mean, the first movie was terrific, so I have some faith that this one could be pretty good. And what I'm seeing looks interesting. Even though the cast from the last one is not back, this cast does look pretty capable. I like who they brought in to play Lisbeth Salander. So yeah, I would like to see it. Again, another trailer that kind of surprised me today. It kind of caught my interest.
I got to be honest with you. Besides the fact that it completely spoiled the movie, as far as I'm concerned, the other problem I have with this trailer is, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought that the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was supposed to be a psychological, as well as, mystery style production.
Yeah.
I watched this trailer and I thought to myself, Jesus Christ, it's Lisbeth Salander. Are they trying to do Jason Bourne? What the hell?
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of the fact that they did that. That's number one. The other problem I have with this movie, and this is kind of a bigger one, the original books were written by a guy who, after the third book was published, he died. This is actually written by a ghostwriter. So it's not even really a technical sequel to the original books. It's just a continuation done by another author.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I really don't have a lot of... I do need to sit down and watch the Naomi Rapace versions. I need to watch the Fincher versions. And I just need to get that out of my system. I really can't build up a lot of passion for this. A, because of the action heroines-esque trailer that they're trying to portray, when part of it is that she's supposed to be supremely intelligent. And I kind of feel like they were downplaying that, number one. Number two, the fact that every major twist feels like has been exposed. And why bother? Why this is supposed to be a thriller, a crime detective thriller. And I felt like the plot was laid so bare in front of me that I don't have the passion to go see it. That's just me.
I don't know if I would go that far. At least that's not the vibe that I got. First of all, the scene that they show with the guy strung up, that could be the first 3 minutes of the film for all we know. That could sort of almost be like a pre-credit sequence in this film that and doesn't even really have much to do with the plot.
Well, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the reveal of the sister, the fact that she has a plan and she starts taking shots at her sister and all of her frickin' minions and stuff like that. That's going to lead to this big bombastic end.
But again, you don't know how intricate to the plot that is. I mean, that could very well be the stepping off point that leads to other things. I put it this way: we'll see. I'll probably see it at some point, and we will find out. Did they blow it or did they not? I sort of said before, I don't mind. There seems to be, especially with reshoots, there seems to be a current trend where the trailers kind of mislead a little bit, and they do it semi-intentionally, and I kind of like that. So I got my fingers crossed that that's what they're doing here. So, and again, like I said, I mean, I didn't realize this was not based on one of the original books. So, okay. Yeah, so maybe my faith is a little misplaced. So, but
I don't mean to damper your excitement or anything like that. I'm just telling it from the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I'd like to enjoy these movies. I just haven't gotten around to it, and
give the Fincher one a try. I'm pretty sure that will not disappoint.
I'm sure of it. I've yet to have a Fincher movie that has disappointed me, frankly.
There you go.
Do you know what my job description is? I'm in acquisitions. I look up and I catch what falls out of the sky.
What's on the ship?
When a young boy accidentally triggers the universe's most lethal hunters return to Earth, only a ragtag crew of ex-soldiers and a disgruntled science teacher can prevent The End of the Human Race. Written by Fred Decker and Shane Black, based on characters created by Jim Thomas and John Thomas, directed by Shane Black, The Predator. Ridiculous!
I feel like the lesson to be taken from this is that The Predator was never... I don't think this was ever something that really could have been stretched out into a full-blown franchise. The original Predator worked for a whole different set of reasons than any of the sequels have ever been able to recapture. I just don't think the Predator is really worth trying to make a franchise out of.
I think that under the right tutelage, you can make a decent franchise out of just about anything. I think that, with the right mindset, like one of the things that I've always thought to myself is episodic television. How the heck do people do episodic television? And yet we see shows like Westworld and Stranger Things that amaze us with this multiple hours of storytelling that is wonderful and compelling. I mean, you want to talk technically, those type of shows are technically franchises. And they work. They work because you have writers that work really, really hard. I don't know what the hell happened with Shane Black here. Shane Black is usually relatively reliable. He's relatively reliable. This felt so off the mark from him.
Yeah.
So off the mark. Like, 1 second, when I was in grammar school, we used to have to do these writing assignments every once in a while. And I'm not going to name the kid. I actually do remember his name. But one kid wrote a story, and he had to go up front and read the story. And the story would be like, ba 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 ba, and then ba 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 ba, and then ba 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 ba, and then ba 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 ba. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
That's this movie. And then, and then, and then, and then.
Yeah.
And none of it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I sat there saying to myself, I feel like I'm just watching things happen. Just stuff happens, and there's no real underlying. There's sure no character arcs by any stretch. There's no underlying story or a theme or anything you can sort of latch onto. Just shit kind of happens, is all. And yeah, and even the what his strengths would normally be the dialogue. I thought the dialogue here was so weird that I almost was wondering. I know it's kind of trendy lately to let your actors ad-lib. I was wondering if I was watching a lot of ad-libbing because a lot of it just seems so just all over the place.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of consistency in any of the characters. There wasn't a lot of consistency in any of the writing. It used trope after trope after trope after trope, like painful trope. Not even like useful. The whole gang of military guys was a stereotype on top of a stereotype on top of a stereotype on top of a stereotype.
It was like, this one tells jokes, this one does tricks, this one's crazy, this one's got Tourette's, this one's got whatever. Ugh, it was so annoying. And not for nothing, one of the things that was driving me crazy was that how every single character all talked like the other characters. It's like, you're waiting for, like, the genius of Shane Black is that you'll have, like, crazy over here and straight over here to offset the crazy. Whether we're talking about Lethal Weapon or even in the original Predator, by the way, they do this, where some of them are crazy, but there's one or two that are just, like, somebody will say something crazy, like, I ain't got time to bleed. The guy next to him will look at him like he's nuts to sort of accentuate what was just said. Here, everybody they meet is another kind of wacky, snappy talker, yada yada. It was so bad. I really couldn't believe it. The cast of again, you got the soldier. So he's snappy, and he talks, he's tough and he's badass and yada yada. Well, not really, I didn't think, and I didn't frankly think that the lead actor was able to carry this movie very well.
Boyd Holbrook. His name is Boyd Holbrook. Remember that? I never want to see him again.
He was good in Logan. I thought he was fine there, but here, I just don't think he was able to carry as a lead actor. I don't think he was able to carry this film. Not to mention, he was not given very much to work with either. But still, I just didn't think he really had enough presence to be the lead actor. Even when I saw the trailer, when I saw him in the trailer, I never got the sense from the trailer that he was the lead guy, frankly. I was almost waiting for the actual lead actor to reveal himself. But yeah, so he's snappy. Then he meets the bus full of crazies, and again, like you said, each one's got a gimmick. Then you cut to the science people. Now, this was weird. You cut to the science people. The head guy, who, by the way, played Christopher Darden in the OJ, the People Against O.J. Simpson, which is excellent, by the way. He was terrific in that. But here he is in this, and now he talks snappy and smart alecky and whatever like the other ones. And then, of course, Olivia Munn walks in, and she's doing the same thing. And like she's trying to sort of be the straight one playing against the crazies, but she's still talking like she's got a gutter mouth and yada yada. I mean, she just didn't, like, everyone just sort of seemed the same. They all came off the same conveyor belt. So there was no this one playing off of that one or anything. It was like everybody just sort of fighting for their screen time.
I didn't like any of the characters. I felt nothing for anybody.
I didn't either.
I felt more for the first Predator than I did for any character in the movie.
I think you might be right.
You know, hey, I'm the Predator, and and they had to do that joke twice about a Predator. It's more like a hunter, and
right.
Whatever. Okay, let's get that specific. Whatever. The Predator name sounds cool. I'll agree with the main bad guy on that one. But the Predator wakes up. He's like, "What the hell? Where's my shit?" And he starts, he goes
right.
buckwheat and everything like that.
And why is he waking up, by the way? Like this movie is filled with things that when they happen, I'm saying to myself, well, why did that just happen? Did no one think that was going to happen? Did no one ever, it's one of those scripts where everybody in it is dumb. He's sedated. He's out cold. And for some reason, he just wakes up. It's like, not because something happened. He just wakes up. And it's like, so no one bothered to do their job right. You just decided to let him wake up, and nobody knew enough to resedate. You didn't have a backup plan. You didn't have any contingencies for this. Nothing. So yeah, he wakes up, boom, chaos, whatever.
Chaos, mayhem. This movie was an affront to my senses, to be perfectly honest with you. It was edited in such a horrible, horrible, horrible way. Like, there's one point in the movie near the end, and by the way, yes, we're getting into spoilers because honestly, we don't give a fuck. And you're going to have to bleep that. Sorry. But it's true. This movie was that terrible. We're not recommending this movie. And I don't care if you get spoiled by this. Oh, I'm so sorry. No, I don't want you to see the movie. And near the end of the movie, the main bad guy, he's got like the Predator missile thing on his head and so on and so forth. And it's the big hunt scene and everybody's getting taken out. All of a sudden, the guy looks left. The missile thing looks left and takes his head off. And it took me like 2 minutes to realize that's what just happened. Like, the main bad guy just had his head blown off. It was edited so damn fast, I missed it, and I had to wait for my brain to process it to realize that he was gone.
You talking about the main bad guy?
The main guy, the head scientist guy.
I did the same thing. All of a sudden, he was gone, and I literally couldn't figure out what happened to him. I'm saying there was so many times in this movie where I literally could not follow what was happening. I could not figure it out. The part when the Predator dogs show up.
Oh, don't even. Oh my! What?
I don't know.
How do
what
the Predators have the same hairstyle as the bipedals?
Oh my god, that was ridiculous! It was seriously, why? Right? That made no sense. But when they showed up, it was like the two of them showed up on, for some reason they're on the football field or wherever they're supposed to be, and they start coming in or whatever, and they start fighting. I literally could not follow what was going on. I could not tell. I'm like, is the screen too dark? Is this camera not? Is the projector not very good? I literally just could not follow what was happening. And then that whole bit where the dog, I guess one of them survives, and one of them made a joke about how they lobotomized him, so now he's tame, and I thought that was sort of just a throwaway line, but then as the movie went on, I thought more and more like, I think they were serious with that. I think they're trying to suggest that because it got shot in the head, it's no longer dangerous anymore. And it's like, it just sort of kept hanging around. Like, this dog keeps hanging around through the rest of the movie, and I keep saying to myself, okay, when is that going to be something? Where's the payoff for that one? It never came. Like, it was just like this thing that just, this element that just...
It did come. It did. He brought the final grenade that blew up the super predator at the end. That was the big reveal.
I guess so. I guess that was it.
Yeah, that was no. This is like fanfic written on a cocaine and marijuana binge
on the back of a cocktail napkin.
On the back of a cocktail napkin, and it was like it was written the night before principal photography was supposed to start. Like they did all this work, and it was like Shane Black and Fred Decker went, "Oh shit, we forgot to write a script. What are we gonna do? Screw it, man! Cocaine, marijuana, and let's get at it!" Woohoo!
I've been hearing that a lot of this is due to studio involvement. The studio went in and recut and redid. So it's one of those where at the end of the day, I don't know who did what. And I frankly can't generate enough interest to even bother to find out. So I don't know who's at fault, but at the end of the final product is just a jumbled mess. And it is just literal non-coherent nonsense. I mean, when they get to the point, when they get to the plot twist, I guess, where we find out that the first Predator came to warn us and to help us and to get us some piece of machinery that's going to help us to fight off future predators. Okay, then why is he murdering everybody in the beginning? Why does he show up? And why is he hanging some guy strung up to where his intestines are hanging out? Why is he killing everybody then? What am I not understanding about that? Again, nothing about this thing made sense. It totally just felt like it was just they started writing, they started filming, and as they went along, they just made changes and said, well, why don't we make this happen or whatever? Why don't we make that happen? None of it made sense.
So that scene at the end where he asks if they have it in a 42 long, okay, the Predator suit.
Yeah.
All right. I swear to you, Joe, I will bet you any amount of money that was a reshoot ending. That there was something different inside that pod. Guaranteed.
Probably.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
As I was watching the movie, I was saying to myself, so many things here aren't making a lot of sense. Okay. Where did the RV come from? How did they get out of the base? Even though it was under attack, it was still a freaking army base.
Yeah.
How is it went from 1 minute ago she's in the room to the Predator to next minute eliminate her? It's like, where did that come from?
I said the same thing. That made no sense. They went to the trouble to get her, to bring her in. And then now suddenly, because, what do I do with her? Oh, eliminate. Yeah. Why? What? Wait, what? Why? You brought her here. You brought her here. And now, I mean, first of all, this thing is going to be running around the whole, like, the secret's out. So what do you need to kill her for?
That's why I really feel like there's a different screenplay. There has to be. I refuse to believe that Shane Black is this inept. I refuse to believe it.
I'm with you. I am with you. I don't. It was so baffling. I mean, sir. I mean, like Olivia. If somebody, what is Olivia Munn's character? Like, I mean, it was only that they couldn't even be bothered long enough to try to make her like. I thought. If they try to make her like the egghead scientist who digs deep to fight back or whatever, they could. It's like they couldn't even be bothered. She shows up. She's already kind of a smart aleck talkie because everyone is, and they don't bother to distinguish characters here. And then suddenly she's running out of the base with the tranquilizer gun. She runs and jumps on top of the bus. So she's like a full blown action star at this point. I mean, like that part, I was like, wow, really? But then she's chasing down the Predator with the tranquilizer gun, and I'm thinking, this thing was already under heavy sedation. What is that little tranq dart going to do? And then, by the way, she shoots herself in the foot. Now, wait a minute. You were gonna take down a Predator with this sucker, right? You shoot your little 90-pound ass in the foot, boom, you should be out cold. But she didn't even really flinch. Like eventually she when it's time for the hero to pick her up and carry her, she finally passes out. But she wasn't even that phased for a long time. So I was like, wait, what? And by the way,
go ahead. No, after you, please go on.
One of the parts that drove me nuts, I could not stand this. When after this, they go to the hotel and they wake up in the hotel. That scene, I swear, had to have been totally just improv. because it was so baffling, so weird, so stupid. Like, she's passed out. For some reason, they're putting stuff all around her on the bed. And I'm like, what is that about? I don't know what that's about. Then the guy's, he's trying to leave the coffee on the bed. Put it on the nightstand. She's going to spill it on the bed. I'm sitting there on my seat going like, no, you don't do that. Anyway, just dumb. She wakes up, and of course there's she grabbed the gun. Oh, she grabbed the thing. Oh, she pulled the trigger, whatever. It was so stupid. Then the Tourette's guy says something crude, right? The Tourette's guy goes, I'm going to eat your river. I don't know if I should say it because I might have to bleep it out, whatever.
Who are you?
My name is Pussy Galore.
And of course, she turns around and goes, what? What did that guy say? No, he said this. He said, and she says it like 5 times, just so the audience can be titillated to hear her use the P word over and over. But that wasn't even what was bothering me, other than the fact that the dialogue was just lame. She's supposed to be a super scientist, and she can't recognize Tourette's when it's very obvious that that's what that guy was. He obviously said something Tourette's. So what? And she's sitting there scratching her head, going, "What's that? How come he said a bad word?" Oh yeah, real super scientist there.
Yeah, not to mention her insensitivity later with the Asperger's son. No time for your psychological problems, kid, or something along those lines. Like, wow, there's a real character moment. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. No, and that was another one. They tried to do this thing with the. It was weird because again, I thought they were trying to. First of all, I couldn't tell where they were going with that. Does he have Asperger's? Is he autistic? I mean, they do the bit where he rearranges 3 separate chess games that have been knocked over. So I'm thinking they're trying to go this whole Rain Man route of autism, again, Hollywood autism. And I thought they were trying to sort of handle that in a way that, when you talk about how careless they wrote that, yes, it was. But I thought that they were at least making an attempt to sort of, again, this thing at the end, again, so dumb. When they're fighting in the woods, or, now suddenly the Predator has the translator that can speak. I want the one who is known as the great warrior known as McKenna. McKenna, right? And I'm
the minute
thinking
they said that, I knew where it was going.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the lead guy going no, I don't. That's not where they're going with this. So then, they say that this is the next step of evolution. It's not really a setback. It's really. I'm like, all right. So they're trying to sort of prop this up and kind of do something noble, I guess, and say, kids who have this, they don't really have a setback there. They really have an advantage if you just look at it differently. And I kind of liked where the heart was, I think. But yeah, it was sort of treated so sloppily that it just didn't work.
I was personally offended by that whole thing. I was personally offended because it annoys the ever-living hell out of me that the sexy version of autism and Asperger's is the savant. And I'm not even upset with the movie Rain Man for that because it was very early days for that, and that's fine. I am sick of this particular trope because they never show the kid who has to have a crash helmet on all the time because if not, he will bang his head into the floor until he bleeds or cracks his skull. They don't show the kid that will reach into their diaper and eat their own feces and then smear it all over the wall. They don't show that side of autism and Asperger's. No, they want the Rain Man types of this world, and that's really what the next generation is going to be, to make people feel good about the fact that they have a child with autism. You. Yeah. Sorry to make you bleep that. But seriously, fuck you. Yeah. That annoyed the hell out of me. And the minute, oh my God, Joe, I was freaking broken for a second there. Here is this kid. My son has just started high school, and the transition over has been a little bit stressful and everything like that. And, I'm always kind of worried. Here is this kid. They pull the alarm, and the kid starts grabbing at his ears and moaning, and it just gave me terrible flashbacks, and I started crying. And it just, I never thought I would cry in a Predator movie, but right there, I said, okay, you know what? You set this up. You better treat this with some freaking respect. And the minute he started putting the chess pieces on, I was like, and there it goes. Yeah. Screw you. Screw you, Flick.
Yeah.
Stop. People. the sexy side of autism needs to take a back seat, because there is a hell of a lot more people that have to deal with kids that break out of the house at 3 o'clock in the morning and to be found dead in a pool the next day. I'm tired of that crap. Tired of it. I apologize for the rant, ladies and gentlemen. It's just that it was a personal offense to me. I find it awful that it's just taken so cavalierly, and then presented in a way that, like, oh no, it's not bad. It's just a step in another step in the revolution. It's like, you know what? Tell you what, come over when my kid was younger, before we put a lot of work into it, and help me keep him from banging his head on the goddamn floor. Okay, let's talk about that side of it.
Tell me about the mission. Did you see anything unusual?
It's above our pay grade.
Do I get a cookie now?
The only thing in this movie that I thought, oh, that's kind of clever. The only thing in this entire movie I thought that was kind of clever. The shield scene at the end, where the three of them are on the ship, and the Predator turns the shields on, and the one guy goes under, and the one guy jumps up top, and then the other guy loses his leg. I thought, that was clever. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
It was fine. I'm with you. The whole thing was just a mess. And incidentally, by the way, even beyond the autism, I mean, they again, all the guys that are on the bus, from the Tourette's to just PTSD or whatever like that, I mean, all of them, again, they show the madcap fun side of these problems. No. Yeah, the whole thing was sloppy. It was everything was very shabbily done, and again, it was just like I said, the whole thing, nothing about it really made any sense. The giant predator, really, to up the stakes. Now we have a bigger predator, and incidentally, and that whole back plot. Oh, they came here so they can steal the. Well, first of all, the whole global warming, how they're going to take over the planet one day. Fine, whatever. Who cares? I can't even be bothered to nitpick that one. But the whole they're stealing the DNA from the most superior among us. Really, a race of people who just sort of come to our planet once in a while to hunt us down and kill us. Now they're going to sort of retcon it and say, oh, the reason they took our spines was so they could actually use it to extract the DNA so they can make themselves into... What? These are giant, huge, strong aliens who basically came to our planet. You might as well just run around a field of bunny rabbits and kick them. Like, that's about as much, effort as they're put. And then I'm gonna extract I'm gonna find out who the biggest, toughest bunny rabbit is, take his DNA and insert it into my own to make me stronger. No, that don't make no sense. And I said this when the trailer came out. I'm like, you're gonna extract the DNA from a lesser species, a physically and intellectually inferior species. I mean, obviously we're not flying around in spaceships that can fly through wormholes, and we can't bench press, a garbage truck. There is no reason that species would come here and take anything from our DNA to make them into like super predators. No. No. I don't care if you're the toughest bunny rabbit in amongst all the other bunny rabbits. I can still kick your ass.
Not to mention the fact that this is a supposed superior race that have decided, we need the brain of somebody that's socially awkward and doesn't know how to communicate in open situations. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Right, exactly. This kid he's got the Hollywood Rain Man type of autism, which makes him very, very smart and apparently able to learn languages, learn alien languages, and open up the door to the spaceship and all kinds of things. So he's like super. But you know what? He ain't doing anything that the other aliens can't already do. They can open up their own spaceship. They don't need us for that.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my goodness, he figured out our code. Well, that's what we want. We want the McKenna.
Yeah. Nothing about that made any sense. I mean, seriously, everything across the spectrum on this movie, all of it was just a convoluted mess, and nothing was appealing whatsoever.
No. You know what was funny? I was telling people how, Joe and I, we were talking about, we have to see a couple of bad movies and stuff like that. So we were talking about either seeing Venom or The Predator. And we kind of figured we'd do The Predator since we like the original Predator and we don't have any faith in Venom. I got to tell you, halfway through the movie, I was like, we should have chose Venom. We should have seen Venom instead. I get the feeling we're going to like that more.
I hate to break the news to you, but we still have Venom on the calendar, too.
Wait, what? No! I can't do anymore!
I tell you what, after this debacle, I would not object to rethinking it because, we have definitely had some very lackluster things on the calendar this year. I mean, the stuff that was supposed to be new and big and exciting, there was a lot of turds this year, boys. It's not going to be too hard to fill up that bottom three.
We need to know if you and your men pose a threat.
We're Rangers. Isn't posing a threat kind of the fucking point?
There is nothing enjoyable about this movie. I couldn't wait for this movie to be over. I could not wait for this movie to be over. I was like...
Same here. I was really looking at my watch the entire time.
Well, here's a funny little story for you. So you see, I use Regal Cinemas, and whenever I take my son to go to movies and stuff like that, I use my Regal Rewards card. So I've been saving up rewards points, and I was like, oh, well, let me use my reward points to see Predator. This way I don't have to spend all that much. Well, it turns out that even with reward points, you still have to pay like taxes or convenience fees or whatever the frick it is nowadays. So it was like $1.35. $1.35. I overspent.
I said to myself too, I spent more than you did, but I did say to myself, thank God I didn't pay full price. I saw a matinee yesterday. Thank God.
Predators just don't sit around making hats out of rib cages. They conquered space. But that's not what's on the horizon.
Should I be worried?
Riley.
I think you know what is on the ship.
All right, Joe. We're at that point. We got to score this thing. You know what? Screw it. 1. I gave it a 1. And I feel terrible that I even gave it a digit. Do you remember my opening? When a young boy accidentally triggers the universe's... This was the tagline that they put out to the public as what this movie was about. When a young boy accidentally triggers the universe's most lethal hunters return to Earth, only a ragtag crew of ex-soldiers and a disgruntled science teacher can prevent the end of the human race. When did the boy trigger the return of the lethal hunters? Sounds like they were coming there. She was a disgruntled science teacher? Really?
When you said that, I kind of did the same thing. I was like, disgruntled science teacher. I didn't really catch that. And the interpretation I got from the movie was that once he started messing with the helmet and turned it on, that's how they found him. But again, I thought they kind of knew where he was going anyway. I mean, they chase him basically all the way to Earth, or well, I guess the wormhole closed behind him or something or other. I don't know. But yeah, I guess that was the whole shtick behind that, was that he turned the thing on, so now the thing knew where he was. So again, the super genius kid turns on the thing that brings the Predator to Earth.
This was obviously meant as a different movie when they were first making it. But whatever happened, it went off the rails, and this is what we got. And frankly, neither plot is good. Neither works. This is like the lowest of the low. I used to think Predator 2 was a bad flick. I'd rather watch Predator 2.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, you realize that Jake Busey was playing Gary Busey's son's character from Predator 2.
Yes, I caught that, and again, something else they don't really expand on. They got the trouble to bring Gary Busey in, or rather Jake Busey in, and first thing you do is go, oh look, there's Gary Busey's son, because you can't, there's no mistaking that grill.
No, seriously.
But yeah, and again, something else they just don't bother to flesh out or do anything with. Oh, seriously, everything. That was, I mean, there was so many loose things. Like the whole scene when she breaks out, right? And she's hurrying up to strip naked, right? And I'm thinking, oh, well, there's a little Shane Black something. Let's see a naked lady. Oh, you didn't even really get that.
No. Yeah, silly Joe.
Yeah.
It was an R-rated movie, but you're not going to see Olivia Munn naked ever again.
Well, they do the bit with her hiding, and then the predator comes in and walks away from her, and I kind of went like, why? And then later she says something. It saw me and it didn't bother me because I was unarmed and naked, and I'm like, but. All the science guys in there were unarmed, weren't they? They all got ripped.
But they weren't naked.
What was it? What's that? Like, is that a thing now? Is that a thing with predators and nudity?
I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe you just need to be Olivia Munn naked in order to not get attacked. I don't freaking know. There was nothing in this movie made sense.
I know, right? And I was waiting for the payoff for that. I thought that was going to turn into something. Like we're like down the road, the guy was going to say, like she says, I was unarmed and naked, and it didn't bother me. I thought maybe somebody was going to strip down to his jockey shorts and get rescued. I don't know. But like again, all these things that they sort of these little seeds that get planted that don't go anywhere.
What was your score, Jordan?
I gave it a 2. Again, I just thought like for the most part it was just nonsense. I mean, it was nonsense fluff. But somebody might like this. I mean, if you're a diehard Predator guy, like if you loved every Predator movie so far, fine, I guess. It's just more stuff, and and you finally get a scene at the end where they're in the woods doing. Now it looks a little more Predatory, but again, very lame, very lackluster. The scene where the two guys get impaled at the same time, by the way, and they both sort of reach up to shoot each other at the same time. I remember thinking right as that was happening, I'm like, this is not going to work, because whoever shoots first can't pull the the other guy can't pull the no, they just so happened to shoot it at the exact same time. I was like, yeah, whatever, that was stupid. I mean, harmless nonsense. I mean, I can, you're absolutely right about like the offensiveness in the way they handle a lot of things, the carelessness in which they handle things. But yeah, I gave it a 2. I thought, well, like I said, the effects were okay. So there's something. Who knows?
Yay for effects. Well, Joe, well then who asked you? Joe, what would you do different?
This is, I'm really just going to sort of shoot in the dark with this one. Because again, I don't know who or what wrecked this film. And I'm kind of with you in terms of, I don't think, I can't imagine this was squarely on Shane Black. Because again, I know his scripts, I know his work well enough to know what his strengths and weaknesses are, and I didn't see any of the strengths on display in this film. So I'm gonna just sort of say studio interference. That's quote unquote studio interference, because I'm just sort of hoping and kind of assuming that was where things really went wrong. I don't exactly see a masterpiece underneath here, so I can't really say that with a whole lot of conviction. But I'm going to try to give it to our boy Shane and say he might have gotten done dirty this time. So I'm just going to say, I mean, and plus, like, there was at least some studio interference, and that to some level that's why things are so convoluted. So I'm just going to leave it at that and say I don't know, but that's what I'm going to guess kind of beat this movie up.
I'm going to agree with you on that. I actually put the seizure-inducing editing.
Yeah.
But you're probably right. But I'm sure the studio had something to do with it, so I guess we're kind of on the same page anyway. This was like... This was the heyday of MTV music video on steroids after some cocaine with a little bit of meth. I don't know what the hell was going on here. It's like I said, they had that scene where the main bad guy finally gets his comeuppance, and if you blinked, you missed it. You literally missed it.
Yeah.
That you had to think about it later. So yeah, the editing is terrible in this movie. Yeah, the visual effects were fine, but yeah, no,
most of them anyway.
Yeah.
So
this is where it's going to get interesting. This is where it's going to get interesting. Joe, for your consideration.
again, this is going to be really abstract, and I it's the best I can muster. I just put down that I will give the film credit for trying new things. They tried to take it in a different direction. They didn't just go the classic Predator, and I didn't see Predators, but I know that the gist of that was a little more akin to the original. A group of ragtag guys in the jungle fighting whatever. So they didn't do that, and they tried to do things different. This was, a suburban. You had the suburban life over here, the soldiers over here, and I don't think it was a hit by any stretch. But you had the Predator dogs, and you had the Super Predator. Like I said, none of that, as far as I'm concerned, nothing clicked for me. None of the things that they tried actually worked. I'm just going to, and this is a bland for your consideration, as the film is bland. I'll just give them a little credit for trying something new, even though it didn't pay off.
So you basically have just given this movie the participation trophy.
Exactly. Thank you.
Well, I actually have a runner-up. I really appreciated that Henry Jackman at least tried to ape some of Alan Silvestri's score from the first movie.
Oh,
yeah. I did. I was charmed a little bit by that. So it wasn't much, but it was like, every time I heard a little da 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 da, I was like, aw, And then I really wanted to watch that movie, so it really wasn't that effective. But no, for me, the thing that really, really shined for me with this movie was the trailer for Halloween before the movie. Favorite part of the entire movie.
Okay.
That trailer for the new Halloween movie was like, wow, I really want to see that. Why are we not watching this right now?
Sorry, you came here to see Predator. Since you brought up the score, it's funny. When the movie was first getting underway, I literally was said to myself at one point, well, at least I could say the score is competent. But then later on, I swear to God, the scene when they're in the bus and they're taking over the bus, the corrections officers or whoever they were come running back, because they're faking the choking or whatever. They come running back there. They murder the cops. They murder the two cops on the bus, and as they're doing it, and as they're doing it, there's a swell of music, and the music sounds more like Back to the Future. It's like as they're slashing throats. They're slashing these cops' throats for doing nothing more than just doing their jobs. They slashed it.
Doc, we gotta slash their throats, Doc.
They murder them in cold blood, and the music is like, yay, yeah. Like, and honestly, I was half debating on criticizing the score for that, but honestly, I said to myself, that had to have been another. I think that's bad editing, and I think that score was probably not meant for that scene. So, or at least that's my guess. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that was kind of a mistake. But yeah, that to me was like, not. I thought that was a little weird.
We're giving this movie a lot of benefit of the doubt simply because of Shane Black. Let's face it.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, sometimes you just look at something and you say to yourself, this had to have been a mistake. No one would have. I don't see why somebody thought this worked, and it just seems so weird. The other thing I was going to mention too, by the way, there was a ton of gore in this movie, and I have no problem with. I almost wanted to sort of throw that in with my considerations. I thought, again, in trying to do new things, it was at least ballsy in that respect. I guess. I mean, they weren't afraid to get gory. Like the scene where when they knock down the first Predator after he murdered the guy and the blood is dripping down on him to sort of reveal the Predator. Mildly clever, okay, but again, then later on I'm going, why is this? If this Predator is here to save us, why is he murdering them for no reason?
Everybody.
And by the way, even the opening shot, I forgot about this one too. The lead guy, he's a sniper. he's there because the drug cartel was doing that hostage trade. Mm-hmm. And I remember right as things were going to go down, he looks up and he sees the ship about to crash, right? But then he sees the ship coming down. He turns back real quick, shoots one of the guys in the head, then looks back again to see that the thing is about to crash.
Right.
I'm like, what was that? What? Wait a minute. Like, he turned back to shoot one of them and then turned back to realize that the plane was, that the ship was about to crash. I found that to be so strange. Like, why would you shoot one guy? Like, again, like, he literally just saw this thing is about to crash. I'll turn around and get just one of them and then deal with the situation over here. Well, how do you know? I just kept thinking, like, but there's like 4 or 5 guys down there. You shot one of them. Whatever, you could not have made that situation better. You could only have made that situation worse by taking out one, letting the rest of them go, and then where do they go after the ship crashes? Like, after the ship crashes, he totally forgets about anything else having to do with that mission, quote unquote.
Joe.
I know.
You're trying. Did you see the rest of the movie?
I'm sharing my thoughts as I was watching this film. These were the things going through my head as I'm watching this.
Weirdly enough, Joe, in a way, that makes the movie brilliant. Because in that respect, it set the tone for the movie perfectly.
That's, there you go. It was confusing from the get-go, and it just kept on going.
Light him up! We may die.
We're still here. So come and get us, motherfucker.
But speaking of confusing, ladies and gentlemen, next week, we're back on Indiana Jones. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get to, well, let's just say the beginning of the end for the series with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, or, as I like to refer to it, as Indiana Jones and the Pandering Mistake.
Spoiler alert, I guess Dave and I are going to be on the same page with that film. I wasn't sure.
Until next time.
Bad movie, but good conversation.
Agreed. So until next time, good night, everybody.
See you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Reviews Without Remorse podcast with Joe and Dave. Join us here every Thursday for a new episode. And be sure to check out the Reviews Without Remorse channel on YouTube and VidMe for spoiler-free reviews of new releases, as well as in-depth discussions of current and classic cinema. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider becoming a patron. You can find our page at patreon.com. As little as $1 a month goes a long way. All clips in this podcast are used for commentary and critique, and is considered fair use. No copyright infringement is intended.
The Joker came to Arkham Asylum in the summer of '09. I know as much because I remember thinking, that is the whitest son of a bitch I have ever seen. He had a funny way about him. Not ha-ha funny, more stab-stab funny. And despite appearances, we became friends.
I hear you're a man who can get things.
Well, that depends.
I need a large poster of Phyllis Diller.
That may take time.
Time's the one thing I've got. Well, that and dementia.
Scarecrow, check. Two-Face, check. Joker, you better be sick or dead in there, I you not.
I remember thinking it would take a man 100 years to tunnel out of Arkham.
What the hell?
The Joker did it in just 2 days. Clearly, I got trouble with the math.
Think you can escape through the sewer line, huh, Joker? Not with the Batman on your tail. Ugh, smells like Batman forever.
Sucker!
But what we didn't know was that the Joker hadn't actually left yet.
Buffalo Wings, do your thing.
Hello, there's a man down here. Please don't flush anything for a while.
Ooh-wee. Forget about the green mile. Try walking the brown mile.
Oh God, oh God.